Okay, hello, Jordan, my friend. How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you, Jeff?
I am great. Great to have you on the show. I'm going to tell the folks a little about your background, and then we'll kind of get right into it. Today's guest, Jordan Meyer, leads one of the Midwest's fastest growing digital marketing shops. He is obsessively data driven and thus very appropriately named the firm Granular. We're going to talk a bit about that. Um, Granular started in Minneapolis, then moved to Milwaukee, where it's now based. And Jordan's got over 10 years of online marketing experience. He's managed over $40 million in paid search spend and has led digital marketing for over 75 companies, from startups to Fortune 50, including Best Buy, higher education companies, many others. We are thrilled to have you on, Jordan. Thanks for making the time.
Yeah, thanks so much. I'm happy to be here.
So we're going to talk for the next 20 minutes or so about the people part of your business. We're not going to talk about clicks or PPC or CPA or any of that stuff. We're going to talk about the other part of the business, which is the people. So before we get into that, just a little bit of your story, kind of how you fell into this field. Was this a passion of yours, or did you, like many, entrepreneurs, just kind of stumble into it?
Yeah, so it's definitely been a passion of mine since I discovered what it was. I went to school for kind of front end development and design, and I had some friends in the space. Moved to Milwaukee right after graduation, and pretty quickly discovered that even some of my friends were a lot better designers and coders than I was.
Yeah.
I somehow got a job anyways doing that. But I happened to sit next to the advertising team at this company that I was working for. And, basically over listening in and having some conversations and doing a lot of my own research, I really grew passionate about digital marketing and the online advertising space. So after I kind of hung up the web dev gloves, I jumped right in and got a job at a small kind of manufacturing, really boring industrial e-commerce place, and got my hands dirty doing online marketing, running some of the web dev stuff, but really just trying to hone in on what I liked. And then from there, I worked for a couple agencies in Milwaukee, kind of raising through the ranks and doing a little bit of SEO, email marketing, affiliate marketing, but really starting to focus on paid search and the paid aspect of everything. And from there, I kind of hit the ceiling from what I wanted to earn, where I wanted to go with my career. And around that same time, I got recruited by Best Buy Corporate out of Minneapolis. So I happily and probably a little bit foolishly just jumped at it, moved to Minneapolis within the course of a couple weeks, dove headfirst into multi-million-dollar monthly budgets, and got a ton of experience in a few short months. Once things didn't really, there was a lot of red tape. They didn't move as quickly as I needed them to. We were really far behind on kind of best practices there. I kind of left my mark and decided to move on to a place where I could have some more autonomy, make bigger decisions, and have a bigger impact. So I went into the higher ed space, unfortunately the for-profit higher ed space, which isn't always the best from a news perspective, but it's super competitive. So again, I was just learning as fast as I could with some of the highest CPCs in the industry,
Hmm.
working with super talented people, and growing my career into a director role where I had a pretty big team. Again, managing tens of millions of dollars, and so to back up to the where I started Best Buy in-house. Between that and then my second stint at a higher ed university, I was doing some freelance on the side, and that kept growing. I've always been into blogging and basically sharing, quote unquote secrets, because I like to believe that their only secrets is, for a very short amount of time, you may as well
Yeah.
share the wealth and just kind of
Yep.
grow the community.
Yep.
So I was doing that, and I was ranking really well, and I was getting clients on the side, and basically, bless my now wife, but my girlfriend and fiance at the time. I was basically selling every night and weekend that I had, and that kind of turned into a critical mass of, do I keep doing this on the side? Do I try to parlay that into a full-time gig, or and quit pretty lucrative in-house job and a steady career with benefits. And I was talking to one of my clients who happened to be in the Milwaukee area, and they wanted more of my time. I didn't have any more to give them, so we kind of decided. They encouraged me to take the leap, and I did.
It's always good to have someone to kind of push you, right? Push you right off the
Yeah,
edge, off the
yeah,
building.
it helped a lot.
And
So,
when was this? That was about 10 years ago?
no, so that was actually December 2014. So just over
Oh,
3 years ago.
4 years ago. Got it.
Yeah.
So what was it about? It's a fascinating story and so common, right, for entrepreneurs kind of start on the side and then it evolves into a full-time situation and then becomes a firm with more than just yourself. What was it about paid search? I assume by paid search, you're talking about SEM, search engine marketing, right?
Right.
Versus all these other things you were working on, SEO, email, you mentioned a whole bunch of things. How did you discover that was your strong suit relatively early in your career?
It was really just the data-driven nature of everything. I'm good at kind of teasing out trends and really diving into analytics and understanding how that works, and also kind of understanding the psychological nature of the buyer behavior. And with paid, you can control that and modify that so quickly. You can really do it on the fly. If a headline or a tagline isn't working, you can change it and test it. And without a doubt, you have data to back up those decisions.
So is it more that you're data driven, or is it more that you like very quick results or very quick feedback?
Yeah, I think both. I mean, the quick feedback leads to data driven results. So I think it was more on the data side. You're just 100% sure with paid search of why, what drives that kind of result. There's a lot less ambiguity to it.
Got it. So now fast forward to today. Give us a sense of kind of the scope and scale of Granular. How big is it? Do you have full-time folks, part-time folks? How do you kind of structure the people part of the business? Right.
So I think we're still relatively small. We've got a big runway in front of us. We have 11 full-time employees today. And it started with just myself, close to 4 years ago. But the people part is where I would say where we've struggled to grow, and where I kind of intentionally pump the brakes a little bit, because while it's easier to scale a startup or a business with servers, it's a lot harder to scale with really qualified talent.
Right.
And that's something that I've been, trying to solve and working on over the last few years.
And I appreciate your candor. What have been some of the biggest challenges that you've kind of seen on the people part that have caused you to, take the dramatic step to kind of pump the brakes, which a lot of entrepreneurs are not willing to do, and they'll just, hire warm bodies and settle for B players. What were some of the challenges that you faced?
Yeah, it's really, I think the market has a lot to do with it. Moving from Minneapolis to Milwaukee, the talent pool is definitely smaller. The space up in Minneapolis they have so many headquarters, national headquarters, and just a really high
Best Buy
density.
And a bunch of other big companies based there.
Yeah, Target, and there's a 3M, General Mills. There's a huge density of talent up there. So I have just super high standards for who I wanted to hire, and that was from day one. Kind of the tagline was, no junior people, no interns, no learning on your dime. We find people similar to me with a little less experience, but who have that same personality, that same drive, and and only hire them. So I've passed up on a lot of talented people that just were a little too green for me, or weren't the right fit, and that basically delays growth and delays hiring.
Yeah, because there's only so many experienced people in a town like Milwaukee.
Exactly.
Unless you start to grow your own, which to your point involves more risk, more time. Do you envision that the agency could get to a size and scale where you would begin to do that and kind of grow your own, younger, less experienced people who have the right DNA, and then you and your team teach them the business, the skill sets?
So that's something that I've been turning down year over year, and it comes up more when we're in a hiring crunch. But I feel like kind of the curve of me trying to get talent and them not really knowing who Granular was has gone away, and now more people know about us and more people want to work here because we have some pretty cool benefits and just a good culture overall.
Yep.
So now I'm actually seeing more talent come out of the woodwork that I wasn't really aware of before. So it's kind of solving itself right now.
So the talent was there all along. You just
Yeah.
didn't have the employer brand to attract it. Now
Exactly.
you do. Got it.
Yep. And in the timing of the market, more people are getting into this than ever. So other agencies, other companies are kind of developing this talent for me.
Yep.
And the A players are going to come out of the woodwork, and we're going to keep finding those people.
Got it. You mentioned a couple things I jotted down. You mentioned super high standards that you have. Give us some color on what that means beyond just, number of years of experience in paid search. It's got to be some other things.
Yeah, definitely. I've met people that have, almost as many years of experience as I do, but it's not necessarily the best experience and the best ethics. And, there's a number of other things that don't make them a great candidate for us. So number one is the years of experience, but moving past that, it's business intelligence. It's really understanding our customer's customer. We're in a service industry, so we have to, number one, just be decent people person. But beyond that, you have to really care and understand the business of our clients. So whether that's selling an industrial widget or a wine subscription or a subscription to online radio,
Yep.
They have to really be passionate about that, and maybe fake it to make it at first, but in the end, I mean, you have to know the products really well. You have to like your client and get along with them. There has to be that personal relationship. And in this space, and any kind of data-driven, any kind of analytical role, that's even harder to find somebody that can stare at an Excel sheet all day long and analytics and AdWords and Facebook and on the flip side, at a drop of a pen, when someone calls you, you have to be a people person.
Right. That's a rare combination to find that, right?
Yeah, it really is. So we're already talking about a small talent pool, and then we make it a lot smaller with those kind of standards.
So why not segregate the roles and responsibilities so you have your outward client-facing people, and then your internal, nerds, geeks, whatever you want to call them. I'm sure you've thought of this, but why have you chosen not to do it this way?
So I'm fortunate enough to have bounced around a number of jobs. So, that lengthy history that I gave you, I really only stayed at places about a year and then moved on and moved up. So with that, I got a ton of experience seeing different models. And when I was in-house, I got to evaluate a bunch of agencies that we're partnering with. But I actually worked at an agency that had project managers, account executives, and they were great with the customer. But the kind of communication that's lost between me being the digital expert and the client, between this person, is just too significant to risk in a high stakes game when you're dealing with a lot of money on the table that drives a lot of sales downstream. So it's definitely, that's what you described is actually kind of the typical agency model. You have these account executives, they're smooth and that can upsell and love to take clients out for dinner and drinks.
Yep.
While this poor analyst sits at their desk and, comes in, 8 to 5 and,
Right.
punches numbers. We definitely mix that up, and we're pushing these numbers guys out of their comfort zone a lot of times.
Yep.
But what I found was clients actually love it. Like
They want to talk to the folks doing the work, right?
Yeah. And they don't care if you're not making eye contact with them, and they don't care if you're, kind of stumbling through a report sometimes.
Yep.
It's kind of endearing, and it just works. You're right. They want to talk to the experts.
And so do you think you stick with that model, or at some point when you achieve a certain size and scale, do you then start to divide it? Or do you think this is part of the magic of the firm?
No, I think it's, I mean, that's a tough question. But I do right now, I think it's the magic of the firm. I think that's a big differentiator the key differentiator is our people and that connection that our people have to our clients. And I've seen agencies scale even with, similar talent to us. But then they have that AE in between. And I think there's something lost there. Right now, me and my VP kind of play that role sometimes, stepping in between, having, being along on some client meetings. That's not scalable. So, maybe down the road that happens, or what I kind of plan on doing is having some of my more senior folks who've been with me for the last few years kind of start to get out of a little bit of client work and in a little bit to that AE role, so they can basically coach other members up.
Got it. What about on the rainmaking side of the business? Are you still the primary or the only rainmaker, or are you also developing a team, or do these folks go out and get business too?
So it's primarily me and my VP, Steve. So he's got a big history with agencies as well. And he's just great at biz dev, and he's not a traditional biz dev guy. So that fits my style even more. We're more about building relationships and making a soft ask, or just kind of showing the value and them offering us business versus asking for it. And, so it's basically us two. That's got to scale at some point, but the traditional sales guy is just a really hard role for us to fill, because it's such a consultation versus, we're not really selling a product. We're kind of selling ourselves and deeper thought.
Sure. I want to shift from the org design and structure to the kind of the DNA of the place, right? By DNA, I mean really the soul of the place. And I get the sense from talking with you, Jordan, that it's very data driven. You probably hire people that, like yourself, just love this stuff. What other characteristics do these 11 folks have in common? A DNA, if you will.
Yeah, I think kind of just no BS, and that goes back to data. We're not selling impressions and clicks. We're the bottom line of the businesses we work with is the most important thing. And if they're not actually growing revenue, we shouldn't be working with them. They shouldn't be working with us. So it's really just ultra transparency. We don't hide behind numbers. One of the things saying I like is, we don't weaponize data.
Yeah.
We really just put it all out there. We explain it. We give the insights. But at the end of the day, if we're looking at, the COGS, we're looking at the bottom line of our business's finance, we got to be driving value. And I look for that in all of our individuals that come to work here.
Sounds like you really want the client to be educated, as opposed to this mysterious black box that a lot of digital firms put out.
Exactly. And our best clients have experience with this. They've used other agencies. They have people in-house. Our worst clients are, and who we try to avoid nowadays, are people that we have to explain what AdWords is, why they have to place these tags on their website. All that stuff is, we'll leave that to someone.
It's a long learning curve, right?
Yeah.
I want to shift gears one last time before we wrap up. You mentioned some very unique benefits, cool benefits that the
Mm-hmm.
firm has to help attract some of these people. Can you share, with the listeners some of the things that you found to really make the difference?
Sure. I mean, first and foremost, I think, and maybe this is a little bit kind of self-inflating, but working for someone who was or is an expert themselves, I think is a really big differentiator. A lot of other agencies around town and around the US that I'm familiar with have people who might know the ad space, they might know the agency space. Maybe they came from kind of a traditional marketing background, but they haven't actually done paid search. They haven't lived in the weeds. And that is me. I've done that my whole career. I'm still passionate about it. I still manage accounts once in a while. I think that's a big differentiator because you're coming to work with where everyone is on the same page. Everyone is living this day in and day out.
Yeah.
And that's a big thing. On top of that, some of the perks. I mean, we acted like a big company right away, right out of the gate. Matching 401k, really good health plans. Amazing vacation policy. If you're here for 3 years, which is a stretch in the agency space, I give you a 1-month paid sabbatical.
Hmm.
So I
After how
think
long?
3 years.
3 years. Got it.
Yeah. And, we talk to our parents or older friends, and they're like, well, that's just the beginning of your career. Like, why would you reward someone for staying 3 years? But
Why are you tired already after 3 years, right?
yeah. But this is, I mean, it's intense work. You're looking at a lot of the same stuff day in and day out. And
Yeah.
I just know, with the younger generation, including myself, we bounce around a lot, and I just really want to incentivize people to stick around and, really help me build something cool and be part of kind of the ground floor because, I plan to be around a while as Granular and not kind of sell and move on. I'm here because I'm passionate about it and try to reward everyone I work with. So on top of all that, good pay, we have a snack drawer, we have really cool office. We won an award. I think it's almost a year or two ago now for the coolest office, one of the coolest offices in Milwaukee. We've won some other awards for just being a good place to work. So I really just I try to listen to everyone, what they want out of the office, what they want out of our clients. I'm not selling to bad clients either. I make sure that, we're selective, just like I'm very selective with who we hire. I'm very selective with who we work for.
Yeah, got it. Well, Jordan, I give you a lot of credit. It's not easy to build a firm, period, but let alone in a very crowded, competitive space of digital marketing. Sounds like you're onto something very differentiated around data-driven folks. I give you a lot of credit for maintaining high standards. How can people learn more about Granular or get in touch with you?
Yeah, so check out our website, granularmarketing.com. Find us we're active on all the social channels. Give us a follow on Instagram. I try to keep it pretty fun. I still run it myself. I think we're Granular PPC. And then if you want to email me, it's Jordan, JORDON, at granularmarketing.com.
Fantastic. Thanks so much for making the time.
Yeah, thanks so much, Jeff. Nice talking.
Okay, we're clear. That was great.
Cool.
Awesome. You rocked. You've clearly done
Thanks.
this before.
Thanks. I really appreciate it. Yeah. It's been a little while, but at one point, Steve, the VP, the sales guy, had me on a ton of podcasts. So
I'm sure. Well, it makes a difference. It really helps to get the word out. And obviously,
cool, thanks.
There's no cost. I'm going to send you a copy of the book that I mentioned to you.
Okay.
And, it might have some ideas that are useful as you start to think about, adding salespeople.
Mm-hmm.
But if I can be a sounding board, I'm more than happy to return the favor if you ever get stuck.
Awesome. And you're in Chicago, is that right?
Yeah, based in Chicago, but I work nationally. So I work with all kinds of early stage firms around recruiting or culture issues. They've got, how to get really clear on the kind of people that, that they're hiring. So I don't just do the hiring, I actually teach them how to do it.
That's
I
cool.
teach them how to fish because obviously to fish for them is pretty expensive. So I've got
Right.
an online course coming out in a few weeks to kind of teach people how to do this on their own. But if I can help, let me know.
Cool. I really appreciate it. You can help me right now. What kind of mic do you have?
Yeah, it's the Yeti, the Blue Yeti.
Okay. Yeah, I've had that in my Amazon cart for a while now. I
Yeah,
haven't pulled the
it's
trigger
worth it.
yet.
How does it sound? Pretty good.
Yeah, it sounds good.
Yeah, I did a lot of research, and all my friends at that podcast suggested it. They have different colors, so I got a red one, but it's the Blue Yeti.
Okay.
Good.
Cool.
Well, keep me
Yeah,
posted,
thanks.
and enjoy the
Awesome.
summer. Enjoy summer in Milwaukee,
Right.
and we'll talk to
Yeah.
you soon.
Yep. Take care. Bye.
Take care. Bye-bye.